Welcome back, and today I'm going to talk about my house predictions. So this is the first one I have ever done, so let's just start. For the first one, in Alaska, I should say the first race, so it's going to be Peltola, the incumbent Democrat who, won in the special election not that long ago. So this really depends on if either Sarah Palin or Nick Begich drops from the race, but it doesn't look like neither of them will, so for now, I actually have this race as still Democrats, with Peltola winning re-election. Neither of Palin nor Begich will drop, so let's see. Slowly, I think that's... Oh yeah, so for California, so I think in the 13th district, it's a bit tough, but I think the Democrats will hold, and I think Gray will win. While for the two swing districts, so for the 22nd district, so it's Valdeo versus Rudy Salas. It's a bit tough, but I do think that even though he did impeach Trump, the Republican, I think he just has the sort of support because it's California, and I see him winning in this district by a tilt margin. And now for one of the most popular ones, for the seat held by Mike Garcia. So once again, he will face Christy Smith, and this is not going to be a great year for the Democrats in the House, which is why, I think Mike Garcia has shown to have the right coalition, and there we go, I'm back. So as I was saying, I think Mike Garcia has shown he can win in tough districts, and I see him winning here by a tilt margin against Christy Smith, who just has that loser stigma, and that will help Mike Garcia in my opinion. So that's it for this one. So Colorado, it's okay. Connecticut, so for that race in Connecticut, this is a really tough one to see, but the 5th district of Connecticut could either go to anyone in my opinion. It's really a tough race to call, but I do see the Democrats and Hayes winning here by a tilt margin. I think if this year was way more red, I could see the GOP winning the 5th district, but I see the Democrats just barely scraping through in this time around. So Delaware, of course, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. So for the race in Illinois, I should say the 17th district. I'm just used to only doing Senate videos. Cherry Bustos, or I should say, Cherry Bustos, the former incumbent who's not going to seek re-election in 2022. So it's going to be Sorensen against King, the Republican. So as many of you know, Illinois is quite gerrymandered, so they really gerrymander, as you can see, to the point it's almost funny in a certain extent. And I think the gerrymandering by the Illinois Democrats will be just enough to the point they can win the 17th district, and the Democrats, who is Eric Sorensen, will be able to defeat the Republican in this race, just barely though. And yeah, you can see my other predictions right here. And yeah, for Indiana, so this is an interesting district that it is trending a bit towards the right, because Indiana is slowly trending to the right in my opinion. And in Indiana's first district is going to be let's just call him Frank, because that's a tough name, against Jennifer Ruth Green. And this was another state that had a lot of redistricting done. And what I think will happen is that because of the good environment for the Democrats, the economy getting better, I do think Frank will be able to barely pull through in this race. 2 months ago, I would have given this as an easy one for the GOP, but things have gotten better for the Democrats in the midterms recently. So yeah, another win for them in that district. Iowa's all good. I think Kansas all good. Oh wait, Kansas, yeah, I can't forget about Kansas. So let me get rid of that. So for the 3rd district, so Kansas is a state that in my opinion is slowly trending to the left, and it's going to be Davids against Atkins in this race. So this race has shown to be quite a tough race. I should say the GOP has gotten tough moments in the state of Kansas, so I could easily see either the Republicans or the Democrats winning, by my opinion. Even though this district was really gerrymandered, I think the Democrats will be able to barely pull through in this race. I think they just have it in the city, and even though it has a lot of, more rural areas, it will barely be able to go for the Democrats, in my opinion. And yeah, I think that's it for the other ones. Let's just go. So, oh yeah. So for Maine, the 2nd district, I think this is another really important district that you can see that Jared Golden is known to be able to do tough fights, especially like in this sort of districts, kind of similar to Mike Garcia in a way, just that he's a Democrat in a really kind of red district. And he's facing the Republican Pelican, or I'm just gonna call him Bruce. So, I could either see this race being lean, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because of how, I could say, a juggernaut electorally Jared Golden has shown to be. But, just to be safe, I'm going to leave this as tilt. I don't think the GOP wins in this race come November unless Jared Golden has a gaffe or some major problem. But I see the Democrats winning here by a decent margin. I'm gonna say at least 0.75, but really it could even go up to maybe 2 or 3%. But for now, tilt margin in this race. So I should just go slowly. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you the states by each one by one. So for Michigan, first of all, in the 3rd district, I do think the Democrats, this was a race that John Gibbs was able to primary Peter Mayer, and I think this district is just way too Democrat for him, and which is why I do see Gibbs losing here by a lean margin against the Democrats. The only way I see Gibbs winning here is if the red wave picks up. If the House is like 240 or 245 for the GOP, I could see John Gibbs winning, but, I think the Democrats win there. So for the 7th district and the 8th district, I think both of these are quite toss-ups, and I could see one of them going for the Democrats and one of them going for the GOP. But in my opinion, I'm going to say that I'm not too sure, but I think the 7th district goes red, while the 8th district goes blue. I think either of these could switch up. You could see the 7th district go blue while the 8th district goes red, but I think, Kildee, Young, Barrett, Slotkin, I think this is how you're gonna see things look like come November. And yeah, you can see how things are. So one Democrat win, one Republican win in the 7th district. So for the other states, yeah, let's just go. So Minnesota. Oh yeah, so Minnesota. So the only notable race that is close is the 2nd district in Minnesota. Almost said Maine. So it's Angela Craig against Tyler Kistner. So the pollsters, as you can see, are saying that it's going to be TLD. And, I think that's quite a good assessment by them. I think that Minnesota might actually vote more to the left than I had expected, especially if the governor race is in fact more than 5%. I do think the Democrats should be able to win here by a tilt margin. I think the red wave, if it was bigger enough, then this would really be closer, but I think she wins here. Her name is Angie Craig. Yeah, I thought it was Angela Craig. Angie Craig wins here by a high tilt margin. Could even be lean if, Tim Walz wins by a likely margin. So for the other races, or I should say the other states, yeah, here you go, Montana, Nebraska, whatever, I'm just gonna briefly mention. So for Nebraska, I do see Don Bacon winning here by a lean margin. I think it's a pretty easy one for him in this district. Against Tony Vargas, I could even see Bacon winning here by a likely margin, but I think lean is quite good for him. So Nevada. So in Nevada, I do think the Democrats will at least win in the 4th district with, I think their name is Horsford. That's how you say it, against Sam Peters. But for the other 2 districts, I think that the 3rd one and the 1st one could really go either way, in my opinion. And I think these 2 are quite toss-ups, but I'm just gonna make a rough description that I think the 1st one goes blue, while the other one, the 3rd district, goes red. I think you could easily see one of these 3 go Republican, but I see at least one of them will go Republican, in my opinion, really. And yeah, let's just go further down. So for New Hampshire, I think this is another race that I could see being lean D, I think Chris Pappas will win here by a high tilt margin. And I see him winning here by at least a tilt margin. But I could see him even winning by a lean margin, in my opinion. So, let's go further down. So I think New Jersey also is all good. Yep. New Mexico, all good. New York. So this is another big state. So for the 18th district, I do think in the 18th one, Pat Ryan will win here by a lean margin. Pretty certain about that. While Lee Zeldin, who is retiring because he's running for governor, I think LaLota will be able to win here by a tilt margin, maybe a lean margin, and I think that could very well happen. While, yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's just go to the swing district. So for the 19th district, so it's going to be Riley against Molinaro. I do think in this new district, Molinaro will be able to pull off a narrow win. I think he has it. Even though he lost in the special against Pat Ryan, I do think it is possible for him to win here. But in the 22nd district, I do think, even though, Catco is not running for re-election, Cano will be able to win here. Maybe at lean margin, but I think they will be able to win here, and the Democrats will be able to win here, but till margin, in my opinion. And yeah, that's really it for New York. So this is. Let's go to North Carolina's out. For Ohio, I think, briefly for the 9th district, I think, Majewski wins here easily. While for the 1st district, Chabot versus Lanceman, I think Chabot, who is, has name recognition in that district and has experience, I think that he could also win by a lean margin, but I do think he wins here by a tilt margin. And now, Oklahoma done. Oregon, so for the race in Oregon, this is one of those tough ones that, in my opinion, could either go either way depending on the national environment. So for the 5th district in Oregon, so, Kurt Schrader was primaried, so it's going to be, McLeod Skinner against Chavez DeRamer. And, this really depends on how things go. First of all, in the governor race. And the Senate race also depends, but it's pretty much a safe D win on that regard. This is a true toss-up in my opinion, and I'm just gonna go with my gut feeling that the GOP will be able to win the 5th district, and Lori Chavez will be able to just barely win this seat in my opinion. I think Lori will be able to do so. I think the national environment is just perfect for them. So for Pennsylvania, so for Connor Lamp's seat that he left to run for the Senate race, but he lost. So for the 17th district in Pennsylvania, there we go. So it's going to be Deluzio versus Schaefer, and I think if this was Lamb, then he would of course won. But because of the fact of how close Pennsylvania will be in the Senate and the governor and just everything in this district, I do think the Republicans will be able to win here by a tilt margin. I think Connor Lamb was really the one for that district, but since he's retiring, I think it flips. So Rhode Island, another big one. So this is one of the few times that I would talk about Rhode Island, because in the 2nd district, it's really good forecast for the GOP. I think Alan Fung will likely have a decent chance of flipping the seat. He has shown to be quite a good candidate. I think his campaigning has just been right. He is quite moderate as well. So I think Alan Fung, who has also really high name recognition, will be able to just win here. This is a really good Biden seat, but because of the midterms, I think you will see more people go for Alan Fung this time around. And yeah, I just see him winning because of his great campaigning. So for the other races, so South Carolina, all good. South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas. So first of all, for the 34th district for Mayra Flores, I think if the Latino vote swings again in the midterms, then I think she could actually have a chance at winning. But for now, because of the midterms not looking as horrible for Democrats, the gas prices have gotten better alongside the economy rebounding to a certain extent. I think Flores wins there. While for the 28th district, which will be Cuellar versus Cassie Garcia, this is a tough one, but I think Cuellar will be in a tough position. come November, which is why I do see the GOP winning here by a tilt margin. And yeah, I see the GOP picking up this seats, and yeah, that's really quite interesting in my opinion. So we're getting close to the end. So for Virginia, the 7th district, which is highly competitive and will depend a lot on turnout, I think the 7th district, which is held by Espan Berger versus Vega, I think this could really go either way. Depends on how the Democrat turnout is like in 2022. If it's high, then the Democrats win. But I think the turnout will be greater than expected. And I think because of the decision on Dobbs, I think that will help in pro-choice states, which is why I do see Abigail winning in this time by a tilt margin in this district. So Virginia is done. Washington, is there one for Washington? Oh yeah, for the 8th district in Washington, it's going to be Schreier versus Larkin. It's really depends on a lot of things, as I've said before, on how Tiffany Smiley does up top in the Senate race. So if Patty Murray does worse than expected, I think this could easily be an easy pickup for the GOP. But if Patty Murray does okay and wins by a safe margin, I could see this easily flipping, or I should say staying Democratic and going blue. And with the current momentum we've seen with Patty Murray and, you know, the GOP, the polls, and most importantly, my gut feeling is telling me that the Democrats will be able to win here by a tilt margin. It is quite close, but I think Washington will be at the 8th district in Washington will be a Democrat win. Wisconsin, yeah, that's pretty much it. So 3rd district goes red by a lean margin. Wyoming, and yeah, that's it. So as you can see, I see the GOP probably winning by around 231, but it could really be anywhere -5, +5. I could see the GOP winning by around 226 to 236, but at last I see the GOP winning with 231 seats against the Democrats' 204 seats. Thank you for watching my house prediction, and see y'all next time.